Okay, this video will help you get started and we will complete 3 homework problems together so you can get the idea of how you can use absolute value in PEMDAS problems. So the first thing you should do is make sure you date your assignment so that when you go back you could be able to find this. The first problem I'll do with you today is number 1. Number 1 looks like this. So what we see here is that we've got the absolute value of -7 plus -2. And then outside of those road trip lines, those road lines, we've got -4. We talked briefly yesterday about the fact that absolute value bars operate very much like the parentheses part of PEMDAS. So if we know we have to do parentheses first, they're actually located somewhat inside of the bars. So we've got to solve -7 plus -2, and then we can do the rest of the absolute value work and get to this -4. So I am going to focus in on this -7 plus -2. If you're working with a number line or with floats or anchors or any of those concepts, you'll see here that we've got 7 anchors and we need to add 2 more anchors, which would bring our boat further down to -9. So the number inside of the parentheses that I've calculated would be -9. I still haven't talked about distance from 0 yet, so I still have my absolute value bars around that number, and I still have -4. Now I can go back and say -9, the distance from 0 to -9, from 0 down to 9, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps. So the absolute value of -9 is 9. And then I can carry down my -4. Now I've got sort of a elementary school subtraction problem. 9 minus 4, or 9 floats, take away 4 floats, gives you 5. The second problem we'll do together is problem number 4. Problem number 4 has 2 sets of absolute value bars. And what's helpful for me and what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to put those invisible parentheses right inside those road marks, okay, right inside those road trip lines. Before I even worry about the distance of my road trip, I need to calculate what's inside of my parentheses. So I'm going to calculate 9 plus 1, that's pretty easy for me. 9 plus 1 is 8, still within my road lines there. And -8 plus 4, if I'm thinking floats and anchors style, I'm starting at 0, going down to -8 for my 8 anchors, and then back up 4 for 4 floats. 1, 2, 3, 4. -4 is the answer to -8 plus 4. So now I've got these 2 numbers still within those absolute value lines, still talking about road trips. So I'm going to calculate the distance. If I go from 0 to 8, I've traveled 8 steps. If I've traveled from 0 to -4, I've traveled 4 steps. Once I make that conversion from where I am to the number of steps, I can get rid of those lines. Now I've got 8 plus 4. You can use your number line if you need to. Go up to 8, and then add 4 more, and you're on 12. 8 plus 4 is 12. The last one we'll do together is number 8, and number 8 involves that new form of division that we saw in our notes last week. Number 8 looks like this. The absolute value of 8 minus 5 divided by the absolute value of negative 2 plus 1 plus 4. So just as I have for the rest of these problems, I am going to put my invisible parentheses within those absolute value bars, or those road lines, and start to calculate each portion of these separately. Parentheses come first, so I'll do 8 minus 5 is 3. I'm going to keep that within parentheses and within the absolute value bars. Negative 2 plus 1 will give me my bottom number. I'm going to grab my number line. If I start at 0 and I go down to negative 2 and up 1, add 1 float, I'm at negative 1. So my bottom number is negative 1, still within the absolute value bars. Add 4. Now, because these are still parentheses, and because absolute value ranks up with the P in parentheses in terms of importance, the first thing I have to do is make sure I calculate this as a distance, as an absolute value. So if I'm at 0 and I move to 3, I've gone 3 steps. If I'm at 0 and I go to negative 1, I've gone 1 step. Then I carry down my plus 4. 3 divided by 1, or 3 put into one group, gives 3 per group. So 3 divided by 1 is 3, plus 4 equals 7. Now that you have 3 examples, please go back, start with number 2, and fill in the others that we haven't completed yet. There is an answer key available so you can check in with your work and raise your hand if you need any help from adults in the room.